around the circuit is on the medium compound of tyres. So the Mercedes out on the mediums, but they are 6/10 away from Leclerc. Verstappen swapped into second, half a second away from Leclerc. So I wonder if it's a sighter from Mercedes may need to look at doing the mediums in Q2. Huge spark, who just came through there, down at the Fiat. Massive spark down the back of the Toro Rosso. He goes up into 9th place. Sainz in the McLaren is quicker than Vettel in the Ferrari. The McLaren quick. Sainz is 5th, Norris is 8th. They're looking strong actually, 8/10 clear of the rest of the midfield. The two Renaults just left his garage and might have something to say about that though, here's Armstrong. Stroll hit the wall relatively hard actually in the second place. Perez damaged his car earlier on. I don't think it would have done any damage, but it wasn't just a nudge, it was a bit of a hit. Stroll completed the lap though, and is a couple of hundredths away from his teammate. 12-13. 10 minutes and 20 seconds left on the clock, so the cars that have set a lap time so far are Charles Leclerc quickest on a 1:38.0, half a second quicker than Verstappen. Then Bottas and Hamilton 3rd and 4th, 6th and 7/10 adrift, respectively, on the medium tyres though. Sainz is 5th, only 3/10 slower than Verstappen. Vettel is 6th, Albon is 7th, Norris is 8th, Kvyat 9th, Giovinazzi 10th. Raikkonen, Perez, Stroll, Grosjean, Magnussen and Russell, the 16 drivers to have set a lap time. Gasly is just starting his flying lap now. Hulkenberg and Ricciardo are on their out laps now, so they've gone to try and get a bit of quiet track. And Robert Kubica is on an out lap as well.
Yeah, I was speaking to a couple of the engineers before this session. They said traffic is going to be key. If you looked at practice in the third practice, Charles Leclerc was very impressive. He got a super clean lap in all respects. Everybody else had a little bit of traffic, a little hold up here. Hamilton was spin before his flying lap, so it was messy for everybody bar Leclerc. But finding that moment, the optimum moment to go out, absolutely crucial for the teams. They work as a whole to try and maximise that potential. They've got so much data going on to try and keep in terms with all of that. It's a fascinating art.
Yeah, 9 minutes left on the clock, and I think it's a tricky place because every corner pretty much is blind, so that doesn't help the drivers either. Yeah, Gasly's fighting the car coming through the final sector to see where he can go compared to his teammate Dan Kvyat, who's currently in 9th place. A lot of the other midfield runners are going for another lap actually, so they're not coming. I would have sort of expected, as Gasly goes much quicker than Kvyat by 9/10 of a second, I sort of expected they'd come back in and put a new set of boots on, but they're not going to. So they've got time for now, 8.5 minutes to go. Long lap, 1:38 for a flyer, but you need about 2 minutes for an out lap. But they've got time for that right now, so it's a second lap just to get a bit more dialed in. Even if they don't improve, there are some improvements coming in. But the track evolution means that the second set of tyres is going to be absolutely critical. So Gasly went up to 7th ahead of Alex Albon and Lando Norris. Really good lap, but with everyone improving the whole time, not even that is safe right now. The times will tumble right at the end of this session. Hulkenberg and Ricciardo coming through the middle sector in the Renaults at the moment. Ricciardo are tenth up in the first sector, and also up in the second sector, not quite by a tenth of a second though. Less than 8 minutes left on the clock. Hulkenberg winding through the final sector now. Sebastian Vettel's improving. His first sector is about a tenth away from Leclerc. His middle sector has basically matched Leclerc. So this is much more like it from Sebastian Vettel if he can sort out the final sector. He and Leclerc still out there. Verstappen, Bottas and Hamilton are in the pits. And Gasly is ahead of Albon actually. Okay, it was later on with the track evolution. But Albon down in 8th place. Hulkenberg goes up into 10th place and is immediately deposed by Daniel Ricciardo, who goes 6 tenths quicker actually. So 10th for Daniel Ricciardo and 11th for Nico Hulkenberg. Leclerc quickest. Vettel goes second, 3 tenths of a second away from Charles Leclerc. That's not bad. He lost a bit of time in the final sector, but that's a good improvement from Vettel on the second try lap. Leclerc also tried to improve on his second time and lost half a second. So Vettel's got himself into 6th. I think it's still a advantage for Mercedes. They're 4th and 5th, but they're on the medium tyre. And I think we're going to see more than a 6 tenth gap gain when they put on the top part of the in front. But Ferrari and Leclerc, still that first lap is pretty handy. It's Verstappen that's half a second away on the same tyre. It's a bit of a distance, and Albon, his teammate, down in 8th, behind Gasly and Sainz. They're not in the mix right now, Red Bull. This has been a Red Bull success rate. And they looked good yesterday, but earlier on they drifted away, and they've not started this session particularly well either. Of course, they only need to make the top 15 of this car, and then turn it up more for Q2 and Q3, which they should sort of inevitably get into. But early signs say that Verstappen's not as quick as we were expecting. Leclerc returns to the pit lane. Quickest man at the moment in the first part of qualifying. Less than 6 minutes to go. Everybody comes back in. Who's going to be going out again? I mean, the top, to be honest, as it's a long track, there are big gaps. Because Gasly, for example, in 7th, has a 1.2 second gap to Raikkonen down in 16th position. And that is true of Sainz and Gasly and the McLaren and the Toro Rosso. So even they might be feeling relatively safe, but at the same time, the track improvement is huge. Track evolution here is huge, and it's the easiest place to get caught out. Stay in the garage, and street circuit and the night sessions are two things that give you the biggest track evolution. It's cooling down and street circuit rubbering in. We've got both here, and that means that drivers shouldn't be taking the risk of sitting in the garage. And indeed, Bottas in 4th has just headed out of the pits on a set of soft tyres. I think that tells you something of what Mercedes are thinking right now, because they're actually not much quicker than Sainz and Gasly. Is this and Bahrain the only 2 night races you've ever done? Yep. Oh, come on, let's hear it. I'm excited. I did an into the night race in Abu Dhabi, in F1, and also in a radical. Oh, Abu Dhabi, of course, as well. In a radical, yeah. Just for fun. Yeah, at Abu Dhabi. That's alright, in a Abu Dhabi, yeah. 2010. Yeah. Jenny's down in the pits, 4 minutes left on the clock.
I've done Abu Dhabi in a radical as well. 2012.
In a race?
Well, no. It was like a track day. It was a race in my mind. Because when I was accelerating out the corners, I went whee, which always means I'm racing. That's what you do, isn't it, Jodie? You not go whee when you go really fast in you're on top. So, 1.3 seconds. Apparently, that is the difference between a medium and a soft tyre out on track at the moment. So that gives you an idea of how much the track changes. Gives you an idea of the difference between the soft and the medium.
Yeah, I presume it's more difficult to judge around here as well, because you've got the track evolution as well. Presumably it's more difficult to get an actual accurate reading of the delta between tyres. Yeah, it is, but the teams will have data on historical track evolution stats, which shouldn't be changing too much year to year. So you take that into account, plus the tyres, and they'll have a better gauge than us and see typically the lap time for Mercedes. Bottas launching into a lap now on the soft, having been on the medium with track evolution, and he's actually timed it perfectly. He's just started his flying lap. There's a load of cars coming out of the pits. They're still doing just behind him. So Valtteri Bottas out on circuit now. He's looking pretty quick in this first sector. He's on the soft compound of tyre, cuts the timing beam, and it's the fastest first sector of anyone. 26.6, half a tenth up on Leclerc in sector 1, and that is traditionally where Ferrari have been fastest over the course of the weekend. So that's looking good for Mercedes. It's the second and third sector where Leclerc has been strong so far in this section, though, and Hamilton is not on a par with his teammate through the first. He's going to be into all that traffic, though, that slotted in just behind Bottas. So Hamilton's not going to have this lovely space that Bottas has got. Hopefully everyone will get out of the way, because if they don't, it looks like they'll be getting a penalty. But it isn't certainly getting out of the way for the riders. It seems coming until the last minute with the rules surrounding the circuit. Bottas is quick in the middle sector, fastest of anyone still, 4 tenths now up on the flat. So he is swinging through the final couple of corners. Hamilton through the middle sector does the fastest middle sector of anyone, fractionally quicker than Valtteri Bottas. Bottas coming through the right-hander of turn 20, where he put it in the wall yesterday and got right up close to the exit. Bottas is looking really nice and aggressive in this car as he comes through the final couple of corners, flashes round past our commentary box under the lights, cuts the timing beam, and Bottas goes quickest on the 1 minute 37.3, 7 tenths ahead of Leclerc. Hamilton is following him around now, and I think Bottas is going to have the edge here on this second run in Q1. Hamilton across the line, 2 tenths adrift. Basically those 2 tenths came in the first sector for Lewis Hamilton, and that puts Leclerc 7 tenths away on the soft tyre, but Leclerc's lap was earlier on. And he's got an extra set of tyres because both he and Sebastian Vettel and Max Verstappen and Alex Albon still in the pit. So Albon's the one that's risked it then from that midfield cut. He's got 1 second to the drop zone right now, but let's see what the evolution is of the circuit, because that might put him close-ish by the end. He's 8th place right now, and even Sainz and Gasly ahead of him have gone out again. 6 tenths away from his teammate Max Verstappen. Half a second to 6 tenths away from Verstappen. So not horrific from Albon on a long lap, but we'll see whether Verstappen's got anything more in the locker as well. Red Bull say that they want to decide after Mexico who's going to be their drivers for next year. So that gives Albon a couple of races to prove himself. 8 seconds left on the clock, so the checkered flag is going to be out, and now everyone is starting their final flyer. Perez just gets across the line in time. Kubica, I don't think Kubica's, has he made it? I think he's just made it with about a second to spare. He's just about managed to start his flying lap. Not that it will necessarily matter, as the Haas of Kevin Magnussen makes his way around. He's not having a great run here, Magnussen, nor is Lance Stroll. Magnussen's in trouble, 18th right now, and not improving by any drastic measure. Grosjean as well in the other half is currently going to be out, but he's improving. Raikkonen's the other man, and down to 16th. So here they come. Kevin Magnussen's the first one over the line. There's going to be a flurry of times coming in, and Magnussen improved to 12, but that's going to be real danger for him. So we have got next across the line Nico Hulkenberg in the red. He goes up to 7th. The drivers eliminated at the moment: Stroll, Raikkonen, Grosjean, Russell, Kubica. Perez is on the drop zone as it stands. Lando Norris across the line to go 6th, quicker than his teammate Carlos Sainz by a couple of tenths of a second, so a good lap there for Lando Norris. Raikkonen goes up to 12th. Giovinazzi across the line goes 11th, quicker than Kimi Raikkonen. So Magnussen and Raikkonen are looking like they're slipping down and slipping away. Across the line comes Gasly, and he doesn't improve, remains in 9th place. Grosjean towards the line, dramatically weaves towards the inside and remains in 18th position. Then across the line comes Stroll, and he's not done enough. It's 16th for the Racing Point. He is out, so it's going to be Kvyat or Stroll that will be eliminated, along with Grosjean, Russell and Kubica, depending on what Sergio Perez can do. It's all down to the Mexican through the final 2 corners, across the line, and he gets up to 14th, pushing Daniel Kvyat out. And so Kvyat 16th, Stroll 17th, Grosjean 18th, 19th for George Russell, who pitted and didn't improve on his second run, and 20th and last for Robert Kubica, who has backed up on. Well, no, he's still giving it some, but just not really on the pace. No, he's backed off Robert Kubica. So 6 cars really in the end were fighting for the places. 7 cars, including Daniel Kvyat. 2 Racing Points, 2 Hasses, and the 2 Williams were always going to be out. And at the back, Russell actually couldn't get as in the mix as I think we were hoping. But yeah, good job from Perez, good job from Magnussen in the end. Just made it by less than 200. Kvyat 9/10 of Gasly. Remember, he had an engine issue earlier on, so he didn't get any laps. So Kvyat losing a lot of time earlier on in practice, and I think that'll come back to bite. And in the end, Alex Albon was easily through. So the track evolution actually is not as nearly as big as I was expecting. It's been bigger in the past here. I think that's why some other drivers, the McLaren, for example, both went out again, but not huge improvement. Romain Grosjean just brushed the wall a little, but I don't think that would have been quite enough to put him down in 18th place. Only 3/10 on his teammate Kevin Magnussen, but still, Magnussen's done a good job to get out of that first part of qualifying. So a reminder, Kvyat, Stroll, Grosjean, Russell, Kubica, the 20 drivers. The Williams at the back of the grid again, but actually about 6/10 seconds away from Grosjean, really about a second away from the sort of next quickest cars. So it wasn't quite to be for George Russell and Robert Kubica and the Williams team this evening here in Singapore. Yeah, Russell was shaking his head, and we're getting a replay of wide. Flew off the surface down at turn 7, ran really wide, and he didn't improve. And I think he's underperformed in that session, to be honest. 3/10 clear of Kubica, but he's been a lot further ahead of Kubica around this lap, given his normal gap to Robert Kubica. I'd have thought he might be a little bit further ahead, and that's probably why he went into 2.7 round wide. Stroll will get the headlines out in Q1 again. Well, not the headlines in any way, but you know what I mean. The whole out the tail line. Yeah, the old out in Q1 thing again. But less than a tenth away from Sergio Perez on a long lap is not a bad one, to be honest. It's respectable. It's very respectable. These sort of ones just never fall for you when you're Lance Stroll and you're desperate to prove yourself. Qualifying's not historically great for you. He's pretty much matched his teammate. That Perez is 14th, Stroll 17th, and the stats will look miserable. But actually, the car's not great around here, and Stroll's done alright. Remember though, Perez also put it in the wall earlier on, so he's another man taking up for a bit of missed time. So, we've got a couple of minutes to go before the second part of qualifying. Well, we didn't. The Ferraris go out again? I don't think they did they? So that pace from the Mercedes, 7/10 up the road from Leclerc for Bottas, half a second up the road for Hamilton, is strong for sure, but again, not fully representative. I don't think, as we get ready for the second part of qualifying.
Sure, and if you look at what Mercedes traditionally do and what the drivers have been feedback that they want to do is, even if they're on the mediums at some point in the running, they want to go out on the soft and finish the session on the soft if they can, get them into the right zone. Mercedes did, I think, a couple of years back where they put the drivers out in the mediums and then they jumped straight to the mediums in the second part of qualifying for the back of the pole, and then goes on the soft, and the drivers said back they didn't like that, they didn't feel comfortable, they didn't think it was optimising what they could do. So I like Mercedes has done that. The attention to detail is absolutely insane.
That's how you become the greatest Formula 1 team of all time, I suppose. Which is I suppose a bold claim, but actually it's not really very difficult. We've got a couple of minutes, let's say, to go until Q2. Battle for the top 10 then. Giovinazzi did a decent job. He's there in the fight. I think the two McLarens have got to be in, and I think the two Renaults, to be honest, will be disappointed if they're not. And I guess then it's Albon. Gasly was strong. Yeah. Ended up ahead of Albon, 9/10 ahead of his teammate Kvyat, who's out of Q1. Yeah, who missed all the running earlier on. He's done that bit. But I think the top 6 should be through. Albon only did one run and remained in the top 10 in 10th place. So I think the top 6 will be through. with a strategy of their choice. The McLarens look pretty strong. They should be through. Besides, his lack of power never materialised into anything. It's more sinister. And then it's the S2 Renault and Pierre Gasly duking it out. I don't expect Perez and Magnussen, so they'll have to find a lot of time. And then what can the Alpha do?
We've lost to the 5 slowest cars in that session, so we'll have 15 cars on track. Can I just ask you as a driver, how big is that difference in finding the clear spot and having a really great opportunity to do a good lap in Q3 to Q6, Q1 to Q2? Is it poles apart, or is it the only real difference comes if you get into that top 10 battle and finding a clear spot non-traffic circuit?
It's a little bit easier in Q2, and then it's a reasonable amount easier in Q3, to be honest. I think you notice it more. But this circuit is actually long enough. It shouldn't be a problem getting in traffic. And unlike Monza last time out, where everyone was looking for traffic specifically, here you're going to want the opposite. You want a nice big gap, because you don't want to follow the cars through the straights, only then to have a load of dirt here and a lack of performance before it hits 23 corners. Monza there was effectively 6 and a load of straights in between. So we're not going to have a qualifying debacle like last time, and with 5 fewer cars out on track. Valtteri Bottas, first driver out onto the circuit. He's never out-qualified Lewis Hamilton here in their couple of years as teammates. Hamilton following out behind him, the 2 Mercedes cars out on the soft compounded tyre then, so no medium action for the Mercedes team. If you're Ferrari, on a medium, if you've got it, to do something different, you think you haven't got the pace of the... Do they think you've got the pace? Good question. Top F3 looked good earlier on, it into a second run, they've got a direct comparison, and they've all gone out on the soft. So it's a void question right now. Well, you answered it well. 13 minutes to go. The front runners all out there. The 2 McLarens, as we say, looking strong. Norris 2 tenths ahead of Carlos Sainz, almost 3 tenths actually ahead of Carlos Sainz. And then Hulkenberg was 7, Gasly and 8, Giovinazzi and Ricciardo were the top 10. Giovinazzi 2 tenths quicker than Kimi Räikkönen and his teammate, as the cars make their way around the back part of the circuit now over the Anderson Bridge, then through the left-hander that takes them out onto Esplanade Drive, then running all the way down into the right-hander of turn 14. Will be the Mercedes that go out first. Hamilton matched Bottas apart from the first sector. That's where Bottas gained those 2 tenths and held them over the rest of the lap. And even Bottas has looked a little absent this weekend, crashing yesterday miles away in the second practice session, but that first Q1 run was pretty impressive. And you know what? Should Mercedes have signed Bottas, all of that? There aren't many drivers who are getting that close to Hamilton around Singapore. Q1, Jack. Q1 is irrelevant, but even the way you said it, Hamilton matched Bottas through 2/3 of the lap. We haven't said that too often, but normally it's the other way round. So it means nothing though. Even this session is just about getting the top 10. It's later on at crunch time where Bottas has got to deliver. Qualifying here is so crucial. If he can beat Hamilton, that would be a well-timed good performance, because I would say it's so different. He's been on a bit of a trot recently. Fast first sector for Bottas. Hamilton chasing him down, comes through the quick right-hander, the flat-out right-hander that takes you up towards turn 7, and Hamilton has a better first sector of him, still a tenth or so away, or maybe half a tenth away from Valtteri Bottas. Sebastian Vettel about to come through the first sector now. What's his split going to be? Leclerc's quickest of anyone. 3 tenths up on Hamilton, 2 tenths up on Bottas. That's more like the advantage we've seen Ferrari have in the first sector over the weekend so far. Is Vettel going to be rejoined? Vettel through the first sector, and he's quicker than both Mercedes as well. The Mercedes are further around the lap now. They come down into the right-hander. Lewis Hamilton does the fastest middle sector of anyone, but only 100th or so quicker than Valtteri Bottas, 6,000ths to be precise. Nothing in it at all between the 2 Mercedes through 2 sectors. The final sector is so critical, so many corners, and the tyres start to just drop away at the rear if you're taking out too much. on the first 2/3 of the lap. Bottas completes the lap right in behind Alex Albon and does a 1:37.1. That's the quickest of the weekend so far. But Hamilton and Leclerc are saying something about that just behind. Hamilton across the line, and he goes quickest by 0.08 of a second. Charles Leclerc is coming through the final couple of corners now, swings past our commentary box, comes to cut the timing beam, and Leclerc goes fastest, over a tenth ahead of Lewis Hamilton, with Valtteri Bottas in third position. So the fight's still there from Ferrari. Less than 10 minutes to go. Still got Vettel to come. A couple of tenths down through two sectors though. Sebastian Vettel. Norris has gone fourth. They're only 6 tenths from Charles Leclerc. Vettel comes through and is more than 3.5 tenths from Leclerc. Norris at the time is Norris is closer to Vettel than Vettel is to Leclerc. That's stunning from Lando Norris in the McLaren. That'll see him safely through, surely. What a lap, 6 tenths quicker than Carlos Sainz, who's just come through in 6 out of 7. But what a lap from Norris. Leclerc, what a lap from him as well. Much quicker than Vettel and ahead of both Mercedes. Now they're on the track at the same time, same tyres. We are going to have a good battle in this qualifying. So the order at the moment, we've still got about 6 cars to come across the line. Leclerc, Hamilton, Bottas, Vettel, Norris, Sainz, Hulkenberg, Gasly, Perez, Raikkonen. Verstappen's just at the fastest middle sector of anyone. His first sector is quite a way away though, by about 3 tenths of a second. So quick middle sector for Verstappen. He comes across the line now and slots into 4th place, ahead of Vettel, only a 1.5 away. So Leclerc, Hamilton and Verstappen separated by 1.5. Bottas is another mile to drift by 0.04 of a second. It's Vettel who's not really in the fight. How close is this? Around 1 minute 37 seconds. 23 corners, and we have 4 cars separated by almost nothing. This is really close. 3 teams as well. Verstappen suddenly just turned up. Fastest middle sector, good final sector as well. Just a little bit weak in the first. He's right.
Well, quite hard from which side? From that side.
Yeah, there was a hefty hit on the wall there for Mirage. He's down in 14th place. So the top 10 is Leclerc, Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas, Vettel, the top 5. Then Norris, Albon, Sainz, Ricciardo, Hulkenberg, the top 10. Eliminated at the moment will be Giovinazzi, Gasly, Perez, Raikkonen, and Magnussen. Norris last, Norris 3 tenths up on Albon and the Red Bull as well. 6 tenths clear of, as you say, his teammate, but also the rest of the midfield. Absolutely phenomenal lap from Norris. But Giovinazzi's done a good job. Right now we've got the sort of 5 biggest teams currently in Formula 1. The 3 obvious ones, Ferrari, Mercedes and Red Bull. And then McLaren and Renault just sneaking in 9th and 10th. Ricciardo ahead of Hulkenberg. Gasly, I think, got a little bit more in there. He's only a 10th away in 12th. And Giovinazzi's at 11th, just a 10th away as well. Times are close. Raikkonen hit the wall. He might find a bit more pace as well. Don't think he would have done any damage with that wall hit. So it's going to be tight to get into the top 10 for those guys. 7 minutes left on the clock. Who are we going to see going out the game? Norris down, would you say? We'll have to go out and do another lap. Norris will be safe with that. Albon down might have to, but Albon's got a set of tyres to use, having not run earlier on. I think Norris will be safe with that, but I think Albon down will go out. Where was it Norris pulled out a bit of a crazy one? Was it on Melbourne? Melbourne the season opener, so Budapest, he was rapid all weekend. He was popping in lap times that were punching well above his weight. And then Q3 he beat Carlos Sainz by about a mile whisker in the end. But his qualifying pace has been very strong all year long. Just the races where he's coming undone with a bit of lack of first lap progress or regress and some reliability issues as well. Well, let's hear from George Russell after his qualifying lap, 19th on the grid.
Oh, George, he must be slightly frustrated, disappointed with that lap. Just talk us through it. We kind of hopeful you'd be a little bit higher up.
Yeah, well, we all, I think. The car was feeling good around here. We were definitely much closer to Q2 than at every other track, and we knew that if we wanted any sort of stop, we needed to give it everything, go to the very last moment to get the best of the track. But fortunately, everyone else was trying to go at the very last moment as well, and my warm-up lap was probably 20 or 30 seconds slower than all of my other warm-up laps in the five completely nowhere. So I started the lap almost span off because I had no grip, and after 5 corners, I went wide and I walked for that. So a bit annoying, but very easy in hindsight. So
yeah, I mean, I think we all looked at that practice session when you were P15 and thought, oh, this could be it. But it takes the perfect set of conditions to come together, doesn't it? In qualifying more than anything.
yeah, absolutely. And I think this circuit rewards you if you do a fantastic job and invites you if you don't. That's really clear today from the FP3 session to qualifying session. But like I said, I don't really regret it, because if we did a very good lap, but we were the first on track, and we knew that the theory of the track was improved by 50%, we went 2 minutes later or something, I could be here saying I'm a little bit disappointed we didn't go later, but like I said, well, and very easy to say my side.
So George Russell then down in 19th position, bit disappointed. He'll be hoping he can have a bit of a race a bit tomorrow, if he felt like he had the pace to challenge the cars in front. But yeah, 20 or 30 seconds slower outlap than you want is large. So Leclerc quickest, a 1:36.930, 10th up on Hamilton, same on Verstappen, 2 tenths on Bottas, almost 4 tenths on his teammate Vettel, and then it's Norris in 6th. We're expecting to see Albon, Sainz, Ricciardo, Hulkenberg. They're the rest of the trucks at the moment. They'll go again. Eliminated in the stands, Giovinazzi, Gasly, Perez, Raikkonen, Magnussen. Those are the 15. And Magnussen's going to struggle. Raikkonen hit the wall pretty hard and then taken the front wing off that Alpha. So we'll see whether he actually manages to leave the pits. I think he's in the car, so they'll probably go out and give it a go. But it was a fairly heavy hit. Well, they can change front wing if the M plate might have just snagged the wall as well. A bit of a scuff on the left hand side. Didn't look anything major, but any bit of scuff. They can change that right now. And second, Kimi on his way. Still in the garage right now. His teammates left in 11th place. 3 minutes left in the clock. But everyone waiting then for the final months, as George Russell was just saying, because you want to be on track right at the end to take the absolute most of the track, but you hopefully suddenly messing around with a slow outlap as well and losing a load of time, as you were saying. So it's a bit of a balancing act. Less than 3 minutes to go. The time will soon become irrelevant. Raikkonen is out on circuit now then, so we just managed to get out in that Alfa Romeo. He's just making his way to the end of the pit lane with 2.5 minutes left on the clock, so he'll need to relatively get on it. Hulkenberg's the last one. He's just left the pits right now, and he's got 2 minutes wasted. They'll all be fine. They'll all be fine to get laps in. So the front runner's going up just to get one more dial in before Q3, as Jenny was talking about earlier on. Norris going out as well. Didn't want to risk it. Then really the battle right now. Sainz isn't safe, but he's in a car that should be quick enough to get through if he does sensible time. It's the Renaults down. The 2 Renaults, the Giovinazzi, the Gasly, and maybe a Perez Wonderland. That seems to be the battle. Or Kimi Raikkonen doesn't hit the wall. Yeah, I think those, you're right. I think Kevin Magnussen is the only one that is not quite in the fight to get through the top 10. But he might be able to spring a surprise. We've seen some good laps from Magnussen over the season. I think a 5th place in Austria, which he then couldn't take if he had some kind of penalty or something. Yeah, he's done well to being Q2 in this weekend. I was speaking to some of the house guys earlier on, and they were saying this is not a good track for us. If we get Q2, we'll be happy. That's what they've got. Anything more than bonus stuff to get them out. So, I always think the cars coming out of 21. I feel like they need it. It seems to be quite late that they go on the gas. I know that you've got the sort of quick left-hander at 22 to sort of, and after that the speed will be sort of reset. But I'm always surprised how late they go for it. Only a very short run down to turn 1 as well, though. So you want to be absolute maximum speed by the time you cross the line. Keep it flat through the final corner, and you'll be alright. They practice this through the weekend. 40 seconds left on the clock. Vettel has done the fastest first sector of anyone. The 10th up on Leclerc. Hamilton and Bottas quite a way adrift. Vettel through the middle sector now. And there's a 37.2, which is just a fractionally bit slower than slower than Max Verstappen's fastest middle sector of anyone. So Vettel's getting into it a bit more here, and he might go to the top of the times. Elsewhere, Hulkenberg comes across the line now, followed by Alex Albon, who's ended up being the last driver on track. He cuts the time between with 9 seconds left on the clock, and Raikkonen's not having a great day. Magnussen's not having a great run neither, to be honest. It's Giovinazzi or Gasly as the checker flag is out, and they're not really managing to improve. Neither's Albon, to be honest, at the moment. Valtteri Bottas across the line, and he has backed off by the looks of things. No one's really lighting up the timing screens. Perez is doing okay, but apart from him, it's not looking too good.
Yeah, Albon really was very close to Hulkenberg, both trying to get through. They had 10 seconds left on the clock as they came through. Leclerc got the best lap of anyone. Vettel's improved as well. So they found her just a little bit. That just changes their start tyres for tomorrow. But what about the battle for 10th then? Perez goes 11, really close, but just misses out by 400.
And it's only if Kimi Raikkonen has something special, I think, that we're going to see any change in the top 10. Across the line comes Magnussen, remains in 15th position. Raikkonen has come through the first 2 sectors and has found a little bit of pace in the middle sector, but I think he's still a tenth or two away really from where he needs to be. Giovinazzi across the line in 12th position, so a good lap that from Sergio Perez to out-qualify the Alpha. Gasly across the line and remains in 13th. Raikkonen around the final corner remains in 14th, so that was pretty boring.
That's Squib. Get that Squib of Q2. Perez did well to get into 11th. That gives him a free choice of tyres, but he has a 5-place grid drop for a gearbox penalty as well, so that'll put him down in 16th, still ahead of his teammate. Lack of track evolution, really surprisingly actually. Normally it's getting better and better and better, but the drivers are really struggling to improve. Hamilton also improved his best lap, only by a smidgen, and was 3 tenths away from the Leclerc. So Ferrari won 2. Hamilton, Verstappen still there. Bottas didn't improve, but I think would have backed off in the end on wanting to improve. So all to play for really. Just the 2 Ferraris and Hamilton, 3 improved.
Yeah, Verstappen in 4th, Bottas in 5th, Norris, Albon, Sainz, Ricciardo, Hulkenberg, the top 10, they will go through to the Holton shootout, and then it's Perez in 11th, Giovinazzi 12th, 13th for Gasly, 14th for Raikkonen, 15th for Kevin Magnussen. So, the battles is Gasly's radio.
Start going with the rear again.
It's up to them, I'm afraid. It's I think for Giovinazzi. Yeah, it's 2,000 of a second to Antonio Giovinazzi in 12th. And he managed to bring 3 tenths off his lap time from Q1, so a reasonable improvement there from Gasly, but no improvement at the end of Q2. That was critical. He was only 1 tenth away from Hulkenberg, who also didn't improve, but if he found that on the last run, he would have been through in the top 10, but as it is, he's about to jump out of the car and end up 13th, which was 12th for him.
Okay, so my reckoning on this is that part of qualifying was a little bit dark because he's saving it all up for the final bit of qualifying. I'm stood in the 10 now where all the drivers come after they've been knocked out of qualifying. And there's a general feeling, and you don't get it very often, but there's a general feeling kind of excitement and anticipation that this next part of qualifying is going to be something special. So don't go anywhere basically. Stay here, stay with us. It's going to be mega cool.
Yeah, it was usually end of Q2 is pretty punchy, but as it was, it's kind of exactly the 10 drivers that we predicted. Perez was out by 10, Giovinazzi again, none of them just really got it together. And yeah, like you said, the track evolution I don't quite understand really, because I mean the track temperature actually is still 34.1 degrees, so only a degree cooler than the start of the session. Air temperature is the same. Yeah, it's not really cooling off too much. I think that's why the track then they're not finding big gains, and it's just up to the drivers to dig a bit deeper and put it all together. But hey ho, Q1, Q2, we're all here for Q3. Let's be honest, we've got the big guns all close on the times. No idea who's going to take hold. This is going to be good.
Julian, I was watching Leclerc going out, leaving the pit lane for his warm-up lap on that section. He and Hamilton went out at virtually the same time. Hamilton just behind Leclerc. There was a little bit of sputtering, a little bit of argy-bargy between the two of them as they were going out. And you could see the kind of I just wondered how much of a distraction could Hamilton be going out behind Leclerc? How much would he want to be a distraction? Or is he just concentrating mainly on getting his tyres in the right zone and his own game?
The latter. You don't want to be distracted by anyone, you don't want to be bothering to distract other people. This isn't Monza, this isn't Spa, this is Singapore. Work on your own game. 23 corners, bumpy, walls on the outside, so much to get right. You start messing around with others. Leclerc's not the only one that's going to beat him with pole. You'll find your teammate there, you'll find Bottas, Vettel, or even Verstappen. So the drivers, they want to drop sort of position on the way out. They don't want to be late in the queue and have to punch up even more than others, but ultimately they don't want to be near anyone else when they're coming through to start the flying lap. I think that was the case for Albon, who was a bit close to Nico Hulkenberg. They flashed past the coming truck and it was only about 3 seconds, which was perfect distance for Monza. But here you want as much as you can get. Work on your own driving. There's a lot of time purely in that. So we have got 2 minutes to go until the final part of qualifying gets underway. Leclerc is on the 36.6, Vettel second, 700 slower, Hamilton 3 tenths away from Charles Leclerc. Fourth is Verstappen, who's 4 tenths away, and Valtteri Bottas only 2 tenths away from his teammates, 5 tenths away from Charles Leclerc in 10th position. So watch the Bottas find. Only found 2 tenths of Bottas between Q1 and Q2. Hamilton found 6 tenths of a second. He didn't improve on his second run though. Where's the money on? It's got to be Leclerc, hasn't it? I don't know. Yeah, I'm going Leclerc. Yourself, Mr. P? I'm going Hamilton just because of his prodigious record at Q3, based on last year as well, where he managed to dig it out. But it's Leclerc that seems to be the bigger threat. Vettel's there, and he's been good at Singapore. He needs to recover. This is most important for Sebastian Vettel. Of the 3 of those drivers, he's the one under pressure coming into this race and would like the pole the most, but they'd all love it because it gives them a huge shot for victory tomorrow.
Jenny? Leclerc?
Okay.
Oh, sorry, Leclerc.
Okay.
I'm getting a lot of bits for not saying his name the same way as everybody else, so I apologise for that publicly.
Same way as him.
You know, each their own. Yeah, I just think everything is pointing towards that at the moment. But I'm excited. I'm excited for what will happen rather than just predicting.
There's still something lurking in me. That what?
Is that the duck thing, yeah?
I didn't have any duck in the end. So let's not get bogged down in Duckgate. I think you might be right though, partner. Like something lurking. Just where Mercedes' advantage yesterday kind of suddenly disappeared and Ferrari suddenly found 7 tenths. And then they weren't there in Q1, and then they were there in Q2. I don't know. It'll be close. It will be close. It's going to come down to who can put 23 corners together in this second. Here's Hamilton. One car's out ahead of us, and Bottas is right up behind one of the Ferraris. Must be Leclerc, and was absolutely nose to tail as they come towards turn 7. They're both closing in on Carlos Sainz in the McLaren, all queued up together. Hamilton rolled out of the pit. He's actually given himself a nice space that he can now do the outlap at his own pace, but he will have had a bit of tyre cooling as he was backing off coming out of the pit. He's taking with him the Renaults as well. There's 2 gaps basically forming a Bottas passes Charles Leclerc in the first of the group. So much preparation throughout the weekend, 4 hours of practice. The engineers worked out the exact ideal temperatures for the tyre to start the lap, and then suddenly you get a load of traffic and a bit of messing around, and it all goes out the window. Leclerc's now dropping away from the pack. Bottas is weaving, trying to make his way past a couple of McLarens, and Hamilton's got some nice clean space just behind. Bottas is really racy with Lando Norris. It's just tucked in behind Carlos Sainz. Here we go then. first run as Bottas goes around the outside of Norris, and then does he deal with Sainz? No, he's sitting behind him. First run in the final part of qualifying, about to get underway. Just went out that from Bottas. That's all going to be the first man through. Then here he comes. Bottas coming through, starts to blind lap, the pole position. Here he comes then, across the line, down towards turn 1. He's followed by Lando Norris, I think, who's in front of the... no, it is Sainz, my apologies, who just came through. So we're on board with Vettel, that's the sound you can hear, coming through the first couple of corners. See what he's got in the first sector. Fastest first sector so far is Sebastian Vettel, 26.392. He's about to come through that first sector split now, and he sets the fastest first sector at 26.334. So only fractionally quicker than he went previously, but still fastest first sector of anyone. What's Leclerc got in comparison? What's Hamilton got, and what's Bottas got? Bottas is through now, and it's nowhere near. He's matching Sainz in sector 1. Yeah, half a second away, Valtteri Bottas. So that's not worked out for him at all. Next up going to be Hamilton's route and Charles Leclerc as well. Leclerc's looking like he's done a reasonable first sector, and he's a tenth away from Vettel. So Vettel at the moment is on the pace. Hamilton's 3 tenths down. This is a great lap for Vettel. Very good middle sector as well from the German as he swings it through the right-hander of turn 8 now. On the power again. His middle sector is strong. We'll see what Bottas has in the middle sector. Next of all, he's half a second away, so Bottas is a second adrift of Vettel, 2/3 of the way around the lap. Vettel into the final sequence of corners, so close to the wall on the exit 13. 19, all over the curves on the way through the final chicane. Into turn 22, back on the power, through 23, out across the line. Vettel does a 36.4. Next up is going to be Bottas across the line, but Vettel is 3 tenths up on Leclerc in the middle sector and 7 tenths up on Hamilton in the middle sector. That was a massive lap from Sebastian Vettel. Bottas out of the final corner in the Mercedes, 1 second adrift of the Ferrari of Vettel. What have Leclerc and Hamilton got? It's going to be the Mercedes driver that comes across the line first as he comes past us and across the line. Hamilton goes second, but he's a second adrift. Leclerc comes across the line and he's 3.5 tenths adrift. Ferrari with an absolutely massive advantage if Verstappen goes third, ahead of the 2 Mercedes. 4th and 5th for Hamilton and Bottas, a second away from the pace. It must all come down to tyre temperatures and the messing around they did on the outlap. Hamilton half a second slower than his Q2 time. Exactly. Vettel was the front of the pack. He could choose the pace that he went at, and he just went. The McLarens then bunched up Bottas. Hamilton was so slow out of the pits as well. The rest of them were all dilly-dallying, trying to find a bit of space. Vettel went, and he's delivered a really, really good lap as well. Fastest across the first 2 seconds. Verstappen just missed him in the third. But that's a really strong lap and benchmark that Vettel just set there. Doing his own thing, as he did at the start of Monza as well. He just took a nibble out of the wall. He's absolutely maximised the track everywhere. Got away with a little brush on the left rear of the exit of turn 20, but that's going to take some beating. That's Vettel. That's Vettel at his best. Leclerc was slower than in Q2 as well, so none of the other drivers actually improved tyre temperatures. Yeah, his tyre temperatures, they've all been messing around, trying to find some space. They all went at exactly the same time. If you're Mercedes now, or Leclerc, or Verstappen, you're anyone but Sebastian Vettel, just get other tyres on and go. Because right now, track evolution looks like it's nothing. We've not seen it through the session so far. Temperature's still high. It's just nudging down by 0.3 of a degree. It's really staying stable. What you need is the tyres in the perfect window and focus on your own driving. So, Vettel returns to the pits. Bottas returns to the pits. Vettel quickest. Leclerc second. Verstappen third. Hamilton fourth. Then 5th is Bottas, 6th is Alex Albon, who is 1.2 seconds away from his teammate Verstappen. Sainz, the quicker of the 2 McLarens, in 7th place, 8th for Norris, 9th for Ricciardo, 6 tenths clear of Nico Hülkenberg in the Renault. Hülkenberg also went slower than in Q2, as did Daniel Ricciardo. In fact, so did Norris, went slower, and so did something. Well, I know you're going to say type thing again, but you know they were all slower. 7th down. The two McLarens and the two Renaults didn't have new tyres. It's true. Bingo. There you go. It's just tyre temperatures. They were so slow on the outlap trying to find space that also they can tweak a bit of front wing for that. That might help, but then you start the lap with 10 degrees more tyre temp, and you suddenly got a different car already. So Mercedes, they will not be a second adrift on pure pace here, but they've not got it into the window for that run, and Sebastian Vettel absolutely did. All smiles for a moment for Toto Wolff as he exchanged a few words with John Todd, the president of the FIA, in the back of the Mercedes garage. But it won't be smiles for the on-track performance. 4.5 minutes to go, and it's going to be quite a battle for pole.
Surely, if the track evolution is this slow, just get out there, get out on track. Don't worry about the clock counting down. It's far more important to have the track space and the position on track and set your quality lap, and they're all just waiting again.
Yeah, you don't need to go out like crazy early, but I don't think we'll be seeing it. There goes Vettel now, for example, so it's not going to be, with 10 minutes to go, obviously, but it won't be waiting till the last minute, so everyone's still going out at the same time, aren't they? They've had the same idea. You've got to put a bit of fuel back in the car, you've got to change the tyres, a quick check of the setup, and then make sure you're all happy, and then go. But they've all had the same idea, and they've all gone out with 4 minutes on the clock, plenty of time. But I guess what you don't want is to be out of sync with everyone else, and you're coming across slower moving cars and stuff. And the Mercedes are still in the garage. They've got a minute. They can sit in the garage for another minute, and they'll have a nice clear track. They'll have a perfect outlap. Albon's doing the same. 7 cars out on track. The 2 Mercedes are still in the garage. Now they're just firing up Lewis Hamilton's car, and he's going to have a nice clear track so long as everyone else does a sensible outlap. And they can leave him even slightly longer, and he's going to be doing this at his own pace. 3 minutes on the clock. Albon's still in the pits as well, so they've sent Verstappen out, and he's already sort of halfway around. Vettel is out there just in front of Nico Hülkenberg. So Hülkenberg's going with Vettel on this outlap. I think Hülkenberg's actually ahead of Vettel's passing it. Vettel's doing another quite quick outlap. He's the man with a 3.5 tenths cushion. He's the man that got it right in that first run. You'd think people would start to try and do the same. And now Mercedes goes with their 2 drivers following Alex Albon out. 2.5 minutes on the clock. Still loads of time for them. But the next car ahead of Albon, who's just still in the first sector, is Charles Leclerc, who's coming up towards sector 3. So they've got pretty much a sector of clear track. 2 minutes and 15 seconds left on the clock. That now becomes irrelevant. The battle for pole position in Singapore is about to really get underway. Vettel, Leclerc, Verstappen, Hamilton, Bottas, the order at the moment. And Hamilton is going to be the last over the line. Vettel's going to be the first. It's a big difference between where they are on track. Hamilton's still in the first sector as Vettel is about to wind up for a flying lap. We might even have to jump out of the way for Vettel soon as Vettel starts his final shot for pole. So Vettel, very impressive on his first run in qualifying, but was he just the only driver to get his tyres up to temperature? Here he comes into turn 1 now, swings it through the left, then through the right, and slides a little over the curves at turn 2. Valtteri Bottas had a big moment there, actually on his first qualifying run. It's a great first couple of corners for Vettel. Now swings it into the right-hander of turn 5, and heads out along Raffles Boulevard through the flat-out right-hander of 6, and he'll come across the timing beam, and his first sector is okay. It's about a tenth down, to be honest, on what he's done previously, but it's still in the ballpark for Sebastian Vettel. Verstappen is improving. Hülkenberg, for what it's worth, is improving. And Charles Leclerc is looking quick too. Vettel, though, is the man with the clear air. Verstappen 3 tenths down in sector 1. Personal best for Verstappen, but still a fair way to go. But he's really quick in the third sector. Max Verstappen 3 tenths down overall. He can pull it back in the second and third. He's got half a chance. Vettel still not improving through the middle sector, and Leclerc has done the fastest first sector of anyone, so it could all change here. So great first sector from Charles Leclerc. Bottas is just coming around our commentary box now, so he's actually the last man to start the lap. Him and Hamilton have obviously swapped places in the Mercedes in terms of the order they're on the circuit. Vettel through the middle sector is not really looking strong. Well, it's okay, but it's still not quicker than he's been before. Massive moment for Leclerc, as he came towards the Anderson Bridge, he didn't hit the wall, I don't think, but that was a massive snap. He's still going, and he's still looking quick. He's through the middle sector, and he's quicker than Vettel. Vettel pit, so Vettel's done. Leclerc's 800th up through 2 sectors, but what's he got in the rear tyres for the final sector? That's where it's critical. Verstappen's looking reasonably quick as well into the final corner. Checker flag is out. Vettel on provisional pole position at the moment. Verstappen across the line and remains third. 3/10 adrift of the Ferraris. What can Leclerc do? He's coming into the final sequence of corners now, underneath the motorway that leads from the airport into Singapore. He's right up towards the wall as he turns into the final 2 corners, drives towards the line, and Leclerc takes provisional pole. 2/10 quicker than Sebastian Vettel. The crowd love it. Ferrari love it. But what can Mercedes do? Hamilton and Bottas, they're doing personal best. Bottas is nowhere. Bottas is gone. Hamilton is relatively in the fight, depending on this final sector. He's a little bit adrift. He's a couple of tenths away, but needs to do a good final corner. Can he split the Ferraris at least? Leclerc on provisional pole. Albon goes up into 4th place, behind Verstappen in 3rd. Hamilton across the line, and it's 2nd. He splits the Ferraris, but it's Leclerc's pole position. Another wonderful drive from the Monegasque racer. Bottas splits the Red Bulls, but that's about all. And Ferrari have another pole. Cheers and delight and celebration inside the Ferrari garage. Out of nowhere yesterday, they have managed to steal pole position for the Singapore Grand Prix. And it's Charles Leclerc again, his 3rd pole position in a row. And people were wondering, will they win again? Monza's a Ferrari track, Spa's a Ferrari track, Singapore is not, but it is now. What a lap from Charles Leclerc. Vettel trudges away. He did not get it right on the final lap. He looked so good on the one before, but couldn't improve and would have just sat there and watched his name go from number 1 to number 2 and eventually number 3 as Lewis Hamilton pipped him as well. But what a job from Leclerc. His final sector was exquisite. Vettel had a big slide, but I tell you what, Leclerc's slide was better. Coming through 11 and 12, I think it was, down to the Anderson Bridge was something quite spectacular. But it's Leclerc on pole, Hamilton 2nd, Vettel 3rd, Verstappen 4th, out qualifying Bottas, who ended up being nowhere, frankly. This is Charles Leclerc, the pole sitter.
Loosen up! Oh my God! Loosen up! I lost control. I think 3 times in this lap. Yes! Well done, guys.
He's great. I thought he was going to hit the Anderson Bridge. I thought he was going to hit the exit of the Anderson Bridge. On the right, when you're preparing the left-hand hairpin in turn 13, he was so close. He absolutely maximised that lap. And wow, what a pole position. So Charles Leclerc, and there's a lot of Australians here for Daniel Ricciardo, but just the general neutral. There's a lot of Brits here in Singapore. The cheer when Leclerc crossed the line in Singapore. That was magic. He's done. Listen to them. 3 poles on the bounce now, and that one around this circuit, I think, is the best of the lot. Spectacular stuff from Leclerc. 2/10 quicker than Lewis Hamilton, who picked Sebastian Vettel by just 300ths of a second. And the pressure as well, with Vettel having control, that was a big pressure lap for all the rest of his rivals. But in the end, it was Vettel that couldn't improve, and Hamilton did. Vettel came into the garage and parked up, so then he has to make his way out onto the grid again. We're going to hear from our top 3 in a moment or two, and Lewis Hamilton, I think he'll be satisfied with that. It's critical that he split the Ferraris. We've got a great racing prospect for tomorrow. Well, let's hear from our top 3 on the grid, starting with Charles Leclerc. Let's look at the Ford Essa.
I'm extremely happy about today. I mean, if you look at the lap, it was a good lap, a very good lap, but there were some moments where I thought I had lost the car that I took back, and at the end, finishing the lap, we are on pole position. I would like to thank the team so much for what they've done. I mean, we came here knowing that it would be a difficult track for us, but the team has done an amazing job to bring the package we needed, and I'm extremely happy to be on pole for tomorrow. I was going to say on the back of Monza, they did bring this package and it certainly revitalised this car around this track. Explain how it feels and why it's so different. Well, we brought some new bits that worked properly, which was good to see. It's not always the case, but it was this weekend, and yeah, then I've had a very tough Friday. Yesterday was definitely not my day. I didn't feel comfortable in the car, but I worked quite hard and today paid off, so very happy. Listen, all the best tomorrow. That team's fully behind you, and I hope you put a good race on. Lewis, you needed a superhuman lap after your first run, and you agree there. But you got yourself on the front row, put yourself in a position you're going to fight this man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where Ferrari picked up their pace today because it's not definitely one of their tracks, but they did a great job. Charles obviously got some great laps and I really needed something special at the end, so I gave it absolutely everything I had. Very, very close. I'm sure I tapped the wall a couple of times, but it was as much as I could get out of the car, and I'm really, really happy. In the front row, just in the mix of them, so we can try and survive in the car.
I guess your confidence in the race pace will pay off tomorrow, and this is a hard race, isn't it? It's a long one that you've got to be there at the end.
Yeah, of course. I think tomorrow we can be aggressive. So,
different from Monza?
Well, it's a street track, but we'll see.
Well, go on a good fight, man. Well done. Sebastian, congratulations. I know you're having the corner behind you. I know you had a very good lap at the start of Q3 there. It slipped away at the end, but I guess overall you should be satisfied.
Yeah, obviously not really with Q3. The final attempt should have been better, but yeah, overall the car was making sense. I was feeling good, and yeah, was able to improve run by run. So maybe peaked a bit too early. I think the track was probably a bit fast at the end, but yeah, as I said, obviously had a tiny wobble. So no point finishing the lap because I was already quite a bit behind. But yeah, it puts us in a good position for tomorrow.
You've got a lot of experience around here. You've won races, and I guess you know it's a long game. Are you feeling confident with the car you've got when it's heavy and the high degradation?
Well, it will certainly feel different tomorrow than it did today, but overall, yes, it should be a good race. So let's see, what the tires will do if we are able to push the full 2 hours or if we have to manage. But one way or the other, it's always fun around here.
Well, push these to put on a good show.
So your top three: Charles Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton, and Sebastian Vettel. The two Ferraris in the top three that split by Hamilton, and that's special. It was special. He's special, Charles Leclerc. The people next to me in the pen, not affiliated to either country, not monogamous, French or German, had goosebumps watching that. Is this? I mean, surely this is the beginning of a new era.
Yeah, it is. Well, it has been the whole, ever since Leclerc joined, sort of at the start of the season, but we kind of got the inklings in Monaco and Baku, and then 3 pole positions in a row. It's been brilliant stuff from Leclerc, and as Jody said a moment ago, this is his most impressive qualifying performance to date.
Just a reminder when it comes to the points, Hamilton leads the way, 60 points, 2 points ahead of us. And then the gap will come with Verstappen 185, Leclerc 160, and Vettel 160. That is a tiny gap, isn't it?
It is. I'd be honest, I don't care. I'm here for the race tomorrow. The championship starts. What championship? Hamilton will win it. And what I love is he just said he's going to be aggressive tomorrow. He can be aggressive. He's got fight in his eye, lest we forget. Last time out, Leclerc put Hamilton off, warning flag. Okay, changes the rules. Got the same two at the front now in the same position. Hamilton had better race pace yesterday. This is going to be a really good Singapore Grand Prix. It's got all the hallmarks of it. Like the floodlights should be lit. I'll pretend you didn't say that.
We will post that comment somewhere really soon. Right, make sure you join us tomorrow for the race. We're online. Of course, text commentary as well. TikTok at MCast1. Thank you to everybody for listening, and thank you to the guys as well. This has been an IMD production for BBC Radio.